Dear learner, welcome again. We were discussing the part 3, the management thinkers, and so far in this particular module, we have completed module 11, 12, and 13. And today's module will be, that is module 14, will be discussing about the re-engineering as a concept. It was given by Michael Hammer and your James Champy. So this particular model will be understanding that why it is important for an organization to totally reshape their organizational structure for better performances. Along with that, we'll be discussing about the features and effort involved in the BPR and the major objective of the BPR, business process re-engineering. Right. Before that, let me guide you about the things we are discussing in this particular part. The part 3 will give us an understanding about how the different management thinkers has identified the problems within the organization and they propounded a new concept to deal with these kind of problems. Starting with the very first one, the management by objective. The management by objective emphasized that there should be a coordinated effort of all the employees and all employees' organizational objectives should be matched. It means the individual goals and the organizational goals. There should be a reconciliation. Okay. We have discussed about the steps, the advantages, alright, and the different element for the MBO. Second, we discussed about the 5 forces models. Okay, like the very first thing is the threat of new players. Okay, the bargaining power of the consumers, the bargaining power of the customers. Okay, the rivalry between the the competition between the different players within the industry. Okay, so these 5 forces are very much important in understanding the competitive situation in the industry. Okay, like it may be that the new player that is coming up with the new advanced technology. So what are your strength and the added features that can negate the competitive level of the new entrant? You need to redesign the situations. Okay, if the suppliers are dominating, okay, or they have uh, more bargaining power with your company, then how the things can be tackled? If you are dealing in a market where the consumers are dominating the market, all right, then how the things can be tackled? Within the industry, what are the different rivals company that could be like dominating your performances? So these 5 forces are very much influential in understanding the competitive situation that will be leading towards the performance of the organization. The third one we have discussed is about the learning organization that is given by Peter Sinch. Now the Peter Sinch has emphasized that in order to avoid any kind of turbulent situation, the company or the manager should always try to think, learn the new techniques, and he has propounded some of the ways to learn the new techniques within the organization. Along with that, we have discussed about the bottom of pyramid as a concept given by C.K. Prahlad. Now, this particular concept talked about the bottom of the consumers, or we can say the different level of the consumers, in which the lower level consumers or the consumers of the rural areas or the semi-urban areas, these consumers are largely untapped. Okay, So what are the different ways the companies can be, like the 4 A's we have discussed, the features of the BOP market we have discussed. So you will see that there is a proper alignment of the things, that all these concepts talk about the business problems. Okay, what is the problem? That the company is not able to generate the sales because there is a red ocean and one shark is dominating the market. So the smaller fish will not be able to survive. So better you switch your ocean, or better you switch your market and like move towards a market where there is less competition. This concept talked about how the company can be generating their revenue. All right. Although there are certain challenges for that as well, but these things can be done. In the current module, we'll be discussing the business process re-engineering. This particular concept talked about the redesigning of the efforts or the activities of the employees in terms of every aspect, not at the activities level, but technology level, the concept wise, your objective wise, everything need to be redesigned. So let us try to understand what this concept talks about. Re-engineering as a concept given by Michael Hammer along with his associate James Champy. They wrote together a book, Re-engineering the Corporation. At that time, this particular concept became very popular because the company was facing issues with the traditional concept. Okay, like the concept which has been developed or the technology that they were using were very old and outdated. Okay, or the way they were handling the subordinates, those were very like less motivating the subordinates. So they need to redesign the thinking process, redesign the operational activities for the purpose of achieving the higher efficiency. Hammer and Campy have defined BPR as the fundamental thinking and radical redesign of the business processes. Okay, so it is a fundamental thinking. It means that fundamentally you are designing the activities of the organization, as well as radical redesign. Radical means a complete revolution within the organization. Radical redesign of the business processes to achieve a dramatic improvement in the critical contemporary measures of the performances such as cost, quality, service and speed. So you will see that there are different element which you need to understand, or different keywords which are very much important. Very first one is radical redesign. Okay, radical redesign. So radical thing. Again, the dramatic improvement. You will see dramatic means a, a, a complete surge in the your achievements. Okay, suppose your achievements was with respect to the growth in the sales. So you will see that with the change in the business re-engineering, you will see that the sales has increased by 20% or 30%. As a result, many companies, okay, they were implementing, like majority of the companies, like 70 to 80% of the companies in that particular era, 1980s, okay, these companies has implemented the BPR as a process, and they have seen a significant result on that as well. Okay, so critical improvement of the critical situation, contemporary measures of the performances such as cost, quality, service and speed. So these are the parameters which can be improved with respect to the cost of the product. The traditional method that you were using is not very optimal in reducing the cost. So you need to understand the rethinking or the radical improvement in the design process, radical improvement in the any accounting process, so that your overall cost can be managed. Quality factor, the service factor to the consumers, and the speed of delivery or transformation of any operation. Okay, so these things are the positive aspect of the business process re-engineering. Now, how these things can be developed? What are the main feature of the BPR? Fundamental thinking. These are the keywords that we were discussing out of the definition. Very first one is the fundamental thinking, radical redesign, dramatic improvement, and key processes. All right. Fundamental rethinking. Suppose you were earlier using like the manual, like the banks. Okay, the banks were using the record keeping as a method for the accounting. Okay, it is a very old thing. It was very challenging for the employee to record all the things in a book of account using some kind of hard register. All right, so it has certain disadvantages, like a person will be assigned to record the transaction. The chances of error is high. It could be that you can lose your data. Someone has taken that register. So it will be very difficult to retrieve the data. The speed of the work will be very low. The cost will be very high. So these factors were there in the banking sector, and they have used the BPR as a concept to fundamentally redesign the process, okay, or rethink the process. So how it can be done? That we are facing too many challenges, and these challenges can be met out. Okay, so radical redesign process comes. It means first of all, you need to think about the problem. What is the problem that you are facing? The problem is with respect to the increasing cost, delay in transactions, okay, secrecy problem. These were the problem that the banks were facing. Second is the radical redesign is totally changing the way the work were done in the organization. Okay, it means now the personal computers or the computers will be used to record the data. As a consumers, when you are visiting to the bank, suppose you are a consumer and depositing 10,000 of the cash to your bank account. Earlier method was like for each of the consumer, there was a ledger or there was a page where the transaction will be recorded. And based on that, like you will be getting, suppose you're depositing your money, the money will be added to your books of the account manually. Okay. Now the thing is, the radical redesign thinking is implementation of the advanced technology. You are using the computer and a person as well who will be operating the computer, but through the software. Now you have a bank account. Within that, when you will be depositing the money, in the bank account, your transaction will be updated. Now those things are under the software. So it is a totally redesigning thinking or redesign process. Third one is dramatic improvement. So we are taking the example of the banking sector to understand the main feature of the BPR. Dramatic improvements. Dramatic improvement means you observe a high level improvement when you are using the BPR as a function. So what are the benefits the banking sector will be getting? Cost will be low, time will be low, transaction cost will be low. Okay. At the same time, secrecy of the data, no loss of the data, because those data are saved in the clouds. Okay. And many other benefits will be there when they are using the software on the computer, when they started using the software on the computer for their recording transactions. Okay, and within the fraction of the second, the transaction will be recorded. Instead, the manually it was done in the very earlier stages. So this is the dramatic improvement. And key processes, it means within the organization. Suppose I'm taking another example of the company. Within the organization, the employees or the company is observing a problem. Okay, the problem could be the lower efficiency, or the employees are not able to perform well. Okay, so there is a problem of efficiency of the employee. All right. Now, key areas or the key processes will be oriented, or they will be listed down. So, which employees are there who are not able to perform the task? Okay, what things can be done to improve their efficiency, and what will be the output? For example, this is the hypothetical thing I'm talking about. So these are the things which uh, was identified as a problem by the company. Now the key processes will be like what activities that the company will be doing to solve this particular problem. Okay, they may be like using some of the training and development programs, like uh, sending the employees to the any kind of workshop, seminars. Okay, role play, simulation activity. Okay, brainstorming session. So these things will be helpful for the employee in like developing their efficiency. So these were some of the feature of the BPR, and BPR as a concept will be very helpful in redesigning the process of the organization. What are the efforts involved in the BPR? What are the different things or the types which the employee should be doing, or the manager should be doing to implement the process of the BPR? Very first one is process improvement to reduce the cost. All right. So all these things will be leading towards the BPR. Process improvement. It means uh, the questions regarding how you are using the technology. There are two process. Okay, product process innovation, like how you are converting the business ideas into the product, or how you are manufacturing the product through different operational process. It could be that you are not using very scientific process to manufacture the product, and because of which the cost is continuously increasing. So the BPR will be aiming towards the process part, whether the process that you are using for the conversion of the raw material into the product is scientific or not. Okay. Second is attain best class to meet the competition. It means when you are like developing the process or improving the process, ultimately what is the objective? The objective is to like provide the cutthroat competition towards in the market. All right, so it is better, or the BPR will be oriented towards attaining the best class to meet the competition within the particular industry. If your process part is not very scientific or not very updated, you will be losing out in the market. So in order to sustain in the market, you need to implement the BPR as process that will be helpful in matching up the requirement to level up the competition level within that particular industry. And the third one is with respect to the break point to rewrite the rule. Okay, so at the same time, like the continuous re-engineering process will be implemented, and the manager has to think out of the box. The very innovative ideas, they need to be inculcated in writing the rules for the activities. It may be, suppose the superior and subordinate relationship is not very harmonious. So, how the rules can be changed within the domain of the management to make sure their activities can be more engaging. Standardized activity will be set. Ultimately, you will see that because of more engaging activities, their relationship is also building. All right. So these are some of the efforts involved in the BPR. What are the different objectives of the BPR? Let us also discuss. The very first one is redesigning the key business processes for improvement in the quality and the cost reduction. As I have mentioned that in the 1980s, very big companies like the Godrej, Coca-Cola, worldwide, many companies has adopted this BPR, okay, re-engineering process, rethinking design. Okay, what are the purpose? That their business processes or the ways they were conducting the business were not so good. Okay, and at the same time it was increasing the cost, and like efficiency was not so there. So in order to improve the quality of the product and reduce the cost of the product, the business process reengineering guide many companies. All right. Flattening the organizational and encouraging teamwork. Now, the biggest purpose of the uh, business process reengineering is to infuse energy within the employee so that they can be like contributing towards the like group activities. How they will be contributing? Because their efficiency will be increased through business process reengineering. Okay, like uh, the implementation of the BPR is oriented towards enhancing the efficiency, and it can be done in the last slide we have discussed through your workshop, seminars, any kind of job rotation, all right, simulation activities. These things will be helpful in developing the efficiency of the employees, and these will be very helpful in encouraging their teamwork, their motivation, their morale. Next one is improving the IT of the company. It means uh, the technological aspect of the company will be enhanced or it will be improved using the BPR. Okay, let us take an example. The concept of the MIS. Okay, like if you are using the MIS system, Management Information System, it is the part of your IT. It talks about like collecting the data of all the department, okay, coding the data, sharing the data to each levels or each of the department again. Okay, now the purpose is to make sure that ready-made data is available at all level of the management. And what is the purpose? Its purpose is for decision making. All right. So it is very important that BPR should be oriented towards improving your IT sector. Okay, or your technological aspect. One example that we have discussed is the MIS software. Last one is identifying core competencies and managing environmental changes. At the same time, your business process reengineering should be oriented towards some external factors as well. Okay, like your core competency and managing the environmental changes, like any change in the external factor. Like we have already discussed, the external factor is your political factor, the social factor, the technological factor, your legal factor, and many others. So when there is a change in the external factor, your BPR should be able to adapt to these changes. All right. So one quotation is there: those who are uh, very fit, they will not be surviving. Those who are very intellectual, they will also not be surviving. But those who are have the capability to adapt to the changed environment, they are more sustainable and they will be living longer. Okay, it is the theory, or it is the statement of Darwin. All right. So the same goes with the companies as well. If the companies is very strong, financially very strong, the company's policies are very good, product and services are very good, but at the same time, if the companies are not able to adapt to the changes external environment, those company will not be able to survive for a longer period of time. We can take the example of the Nokia. At one point of time, the company was dominating the phone category or the phone market, smartphone market, but they were not adaptive to the changed environment by the introduction of the like Android. है ना? They will not adaptive to the change, and you will see that they are totally out of the market. So no matter how big company you are, your business process reengineering should be able to like adapt to the external changing environment. All right. So we have discussed these things, and lastly, the changes occur when a company reengineering to its business processes. Like, what are the changes that will be occurring? Business process reengineering implemented, value and belief of the company. Okay, like you are more oriented towards increasing the efficiency. Okay, more oriented towards reducing the cost, in quality of the product, more on the teamwork activity. So these will be changing. Management and measurement system. So it act as a BPR, act as or develop a standard for measuring the effectiveness of the employees, whether they are performing as per the standards laid down or not. Okay, job and structure. It means uh, overall the responsibility, the accountability, the job role, job specification, right? Your job engagement, it will be redesigned, all right? And it will be ultimately leading towards the positive side of the organization. So with this, we have thoroughly understood about the business reengineering model given by Michael Hammer and James Champy. We discussed about the features and effort involved in the BPR, and lastly the objective of the BPR. And I'm uh, leaving you with some of the suggested books that can be helpful for you in understanding the concept of the BPR. In the next module, we'll be discussing about the recent trends and the global challenges in the management, and that will be the end part of the part 3. That's all for this session. Thank you so much.